Mesoamerica has werebeast legends, including the werejaguar. The werejaguar stands as one of the most powerful and enduring mythological figures in Mesoamerican cultural heritage, blending the fearsome qualities of two apex predators, human and jaguar, into a single terrifying entity that has captured the imagination of peoples across millennia. Unlike the werewolf of European folklore, which often represents a curse or punishment, the werejaguar possesses deep spiritual significance, representing the bridge between mundane reality and divine power within ancient civilizations, including the Olmec, Maya, and Aztec. These shape-shifting beings embodied the mysterious nature of Mesoamerican cosmology, where boundaries between human and animal, mortal and divine, were permeable and often crossed through ritual, spiritual practice, and divine intervention. Their presence in artwork, ritual objects, and oral traditions spans thousands of years, revealing the central importance of jaguars in the spiritual imagination of pre-Columbian peoples who regarded these magnificent cats not merely as animals, but as embodiments of cosmic forces. The jaguar's solitary nature, nocturnal hunting habits, and unparalleled strength made it an ideal vessel for concepts of transformation and spiritual power that transcended ordinary human experience. Physically, the werejaguar manifests as a hybrid creature, possessing both human and feline characteristics in various unsettling combinations that speak to the fluid nature of form in Mesoamerican religious thought. Most depictions show a humanoid figure with distinctly jaguar-like features, elongated fangs protruding from a snarling mouth, almond-shaped eyes with vertical pupils that pierce the darkness, and spotted or patterned skin reminiscent of a jaguar's distinctive coat, with its rosettes symbolizing the stars against the night sky. Clawed hands replace human fingers, capable of tearing through flesh and bone with supernatural ease, while the body often maintains a powerful muscular human form, suggesting the retention of human cunning enhanced by bestial strength. Some artistic representations emphasize a transformation in progress, with the face particularly affected by feline characteristics, while the body remains human, capturing the liminal moment between states of being. The creature might stand upright on two legs or assume a four-legged stance depending on the phase of transformation or the particular aspects of jaguar power being emphasized by the artist or storyteller. Ancient Olmec artifacts frequently depict infants with downturned mouths and almond-shaped eyes. The intriguing werejaguar baby motif that archaeologists believe represents the offspring of human-jaguar unions or infants born with special connections to jaguar deities. The physical appearance varies considerably across cultures and time periods, sometimes showing subtle jaguar attributes merged with human form, and in other instances depicting more dramatic hybridization with prominent feline heads atop human bodies. The werejaguar's behavior reflects its dual nature, combining human intellect with predatory feline instincts in a dangerous synthesis that made them formidable figures in Mesoamerican mythology and religious practice. These beings were thought to possess supernatural strength, speed, and senses far beyond human capability, allowing them to hunt with unparalleled efficiency and evade any human attempts at capture or containment. They hunted at night, when jaguar power peaked with the descent of darkness and ordinary humans were at their most vulnerable, retreating to caves or forest lairs during daylight hours. Stealthy and patient, they stalked prey with calculated precision before striking with overwhelming force, embodying the actual hunting behavior of jaguars, while adding the terrifying element of human strategic thinking. Unlike mindless monsters, werejaguars retained human consciousness and cunning, making them especially dangerous adversaries who could plan, deceive, and exploit the weaknesses of their victims with methodical cruelty. They were believed to move effortlessly between human society and wilderness, passing as ordinary people during daylight hours while transforming to hunt under moonlight, making them impossible to identify until it was too late. Some accounts suggest they possessed magical abilities beyond shape-shifting, including control over weather, healing powers, or divination skills that further emphasize their connection to supernatural forces that governed the cosmos. Their behavior was not universally malevolent, however, as beneficial werejaguars were thought to protect communities, punish wrongdoers, and maintain cosmic balance through their actions. Within Mesoamerican cosmology, werejaguars occupied a unique position as intermediaries between the human and divine realms, capable of traversing cosmic levels that ordinary mortals could not access without special preparation or divine assistance. Shamans and priests supposedly transformed into jaguar form to journey between worlds, accessing supernatural knowledge and power that they would later use to heal, prophesy, or conduct essential rituals for their communities. The jaguar represented the night sun traveling through the underworld, making the werejaguar an embodiment of this cosmic journey through darkness toward rebirth and renewal in the cyclical understanding of time central to Mesoamerican thought. Olmec culture, the mother civilization of Mesoamerica emerging around 1500 BCE, placed particular emphasis on werejaguar imagery, suggesting these beings may have represented elite rulers who claimed divine jaguar lineage as justification for their political authority over ordinary humans. Aztec warriors of the Jaguar Knight military order emulated these creatures, wearing jaguar pelts and seeking to channel the animal's ferocity in battle, transforming themselves symbolically, if not literally, into these powerful hybrid beings. Throughout Mesoamerican cultures, the ability to transform into a jaguar signified immense spiritual power, with shamans undertaking rituals involving hallucinogenic substances like peyote or sacred mushrooms to facilitate this metamorphosis in visionary experiences that reinforced their status within their communities. The werejaguar thus represented not just a mythological creature, but a spiritual ideal, the perfect synthesis of human consciousness with natural power that transcended ordinary limitations. The earliest archaeological evidence of werejaguar mythology dates to the Olmec civilization around 1200 BCE, where numerous artifacts depict humans with jaguar features in contexts suggesting religious significance and connections to political authority in this early complex society. Massive basalt heads with distinctly feline attributes carved with extraordinary skill suggest the importance of this concept to Olmec religious and political power structures, possibly representing rulers who claimed jaguar transformation abilities or divine jaguar ancestry. The symbolism evolved as it spread to other Mesoamerican cultures, with the Maya incorporating werejaguar imagery into their complex pantheon during their flourishing period between approximately 250 and 900 CE. The rain deity Chayak and the underworld lord often displayed jaguar elements in Maya artwork, connecting the creature to both life-giving water and the mysterious realm of death. Later, Aztec religion featured Tepeolotl, heart of the mountain, a jaguar deity associated with earthquakes and the underworld, who embodied the earth's inner power manifested through feline form. Rulers throughout these civilizations adopted jaguar symbolism, wearing pelts during ceremonies and taking names referencing the sacred animal to reinforce their connection to supernatural power. These consistent representations across different cultures and time periods demonstrate the werejaguar's fundamental importance in Mesoamerican spiritual understanding, transcending particular cultural expressions while maintaining its core symbolic associations with transformation, power, and divine connection. The material culture surrounding werejaguar mythology reveals the profound integration of this concept into daily life and ritual practice throughout ancient Mesoamerica, appearing in contexts ranging from monumental sculpture to personal adornments. Temple complexes often featured jaguar motifs at entrances, symbolizing the passage between worlds that these sacred spaces facilitated, with snarling jaguar mouths representing cave entrances, portals to the underworld in Mesoamerican cosmology. Ceramic vessels decorated with werejaguar imagery held ritual substances including hallucinogenic preparations, blood offerings, and sacred foods consumed during transformative ceremonies designed to facilitate communication with otherworldly realms. Elite individuals were buried with jaguar-themed grave goods, fanged pendants, spotted textiles, and ceremonial objects decorated with transformation scenes, suggesting that the association with jaguar power extended beyond death into the afterlife journey. Stone sculptures of werejaguars guarded sacred precincts, their imposing presence warning unauthorized individuals against trespassing into spaces reserved for priests and rulers who had legitimate access to supernatural forces. Codices created by Maya scribes depicted elaborate mythological narratives featuring werejaguar transformations in complex hieroglyphic texts that unfortunately were largely destroyed during Spanish colonization, leaving modern scholars to reconstruct these stories through surviving fragments and archaeological evidence. The ubiquity of werejaguar imagery across contexts and materials demonstrates how thoroughly this concept permeated Mesoamerican thought as a central organizing principle rather than a minor mythological curiosity. The werejaguar myth evolved considerably through millennia of Mesoamerican history, adapting to different cultural contexts while maintaining core symbolic elements that speak to its enduring significance in indigenous worldviews. The Olmec representations emphasize transformation and divine birth, suggesting origins for the concept in creation mythology and fertility symbolism that connected human reproduction with cosmic regeneration. Later Maya depictions connected werejaguars more explicitly to royal power and underworld journeys, reflecting the complex political and religious systems that characterize classic Maya civilization, with its emphasis on royal bloodlines and ritualized warfare. By the time of the Aztec Empire in the 15th and early 16th centuries, jaguar warriors represented an elite military class, transforming spiritual concepts into political and military institutions that served the expansionist agenda of this powerful state. Spanish colonization brought Christian demonization of indigenous beliefs, forcing werejaguar mythology underground where it blended with European werewolf legends imported by the colonizers, creating syncretic narratives that preserved ancient concepts under new guises that would not attract persecution from religious authorities. Folk Catholicism in regions like southern Mexico and Guatemala preserves elements of these beliefs to this day, with saint figures sometimes taking on attributes once associated with jaguar deities in a process of cultural adaptation and resistance. The Nahual tradition, where individuals have animal counterparts or can transform into animals, continues in many indigenous communities, with the jaguar remaining a particularly powerful form associated with spiritual leadership, healing abilities, and protection of community boundaries against outside threats. Contemporary indigenous communities throughout Mexico and Central America maintain complex relationships with jaguar symbolism that connect modern practice with ancient beliefs while adapting to changed circumstances and environmental challenges. Ritual specialists in Maya communities still speak of spiritual journeys in jaguar form, describing transformative experiences that echo those depicted in ancient artwork, but reinterpreted through centuries of cultural change and religious syncretism. Community festivals feature dancers wearing jaguar masks who perform ancient movement patterns believed to channel the power of these animals for communal benefit, creating living connections with ancestral traditions. Textile designs incorporate jaguar spots and facial features in patterns that have been passed down through generations, their symbolic meanings sometimes lost, but their importance as cultural markers remaining intact. Traditional stories told to children still feature werejaguars as powerful figures embodying both danger and protection, teaching lessons about human relationships with the natural world and the consequences of disrespecting sacred boundaries. Environmental activists from indigenous communities sometimes invoke werejaguar symbolism in their struggle to protect forest habitats, drawing on ancestral connections to this apex predator as justification for conservation efforts that preserve both natural and cultural heritage. These contemporary expressions demonstrate the resilience of werejaguar mythology, which has survived centuries of suppression and transformation to remain a vital element of Mesoamerican cultural identity. In modern times, the werejaguar has experienced renewed interest through archaeological discoveries, cultural revitalization movements, and popular media representations that have brought this ancient symbol to global attention, though often with varying degrees of accuracy and respect for its original context. Spectacular archaeological finds like the discovery of jade werejaguar figurines in previously undisturbed tombs continue to expand scholarly understanding of how these beings functioned within ancient social systems and cosmic frameworks. Contemporary indigenous communities still honor the jaguar's spiritual significance, though often in ways transformed by centuries of cultural synthesis, displacement, and adaptation to changed ecological circumstances as jaguar populations have declined throughout their historical range. Conservation efforts to protect endangered jaguar populations sometimes reference these cultural traditions, highlighting indigenous knowledge about this apex predator as valuable for both cultural preservation and ecological sustainability in threatened forest habitats. Movies, books, and games frequently appropriate werejaguar imagery, though often with limited understanding of its original cultural context, transforming these complex spiritual entities into simplified monsters or exotic curiosities divorced from their profound cosmological significance. Tourism industries throughout Mexico and Central America showcase werejaguar artifacts and imagery as emblematic of pre-Columbian heritage, creating economic opportunities, but sometimes reducing rich cultural traditions to marketable entertainment for visitors seeking authentic experiences. Academic research continues to uncover nuances in how werejaguar concepts varied across regions and time periods, challenging earlier simplistic interpretations and revealing the sophisticated theological and philosophical systems that these beings embodied in their original contexts. This mythological figure thus continues to evolve, spanning the ancient past and contemporary imagination, while remaining rooted in the distinctive relationship between Mesoamerican peoples and the powerful jaguar that has shaped cultural development in this region for thousands of years. The relationship between shamanic practices and werejaguar transformation reveals particularly fascinating aspects of this tradition, illuminating how spiritual specialists claim to achieve the seemingly impossible feat of crossing between human and animal states. Historical accounts and surviving indigenous practices suggest that transformation rituals followed specific protocols designed to facilitate the practitioner's journey between forms and realms of existence. Specialized ceremonial items, particular types of incense, drums painted with jaguar imagery, rattles made from jaguar claws, garments decorated with spotted patterns, created sensory environments conducive to transformative experiences. Fasting, sleep deprivation, bloodletting, and consumption of psychoactive substances prepared the body and mind for the boundary-crossing experience that would temporarily release the human spirit from its ordinary constraints. The transformation process was described not as simply donning a jaguar's appearance, but as a profound ontological shift in which the practitioner's innermost essence took on feline characteristics while retaining human consciousness. These practices were not undertaken lightly or frequently, being reserved for specific ritual occasions when communication with other realms became necessary for community well-being, to diagnose difficult illnesses, locate lost objects of importance, predict weather patterns affecting agriculture, or communicate with powerful ancestral spirits. The dangerous nature of transformation was acknowledged through elaborate precautions, as a person who transformed too completely might lose their human identity entirely, becoming permanently trapped between states or fully converted to jaguar form. A cautionary element in many traditional stories that emphasize the need for proper training and preparation before attempting such spiritually hazardous journeys. The gendered dimensions of werejaguar mythology reveal complex attitudes toward power and transformation in Mesoamerican societies, with interesting variations across cultures and historical periods that complicate simplistic interpretations of these traditions. While male shamans and rulers feature prominently in many accounts of jaguar transformation, evidence exists for female werejaguars as well, particularly in contexts related to fertility, midwifery, and protective magic. Childbirth, itself a transformative process bridging life and death, held special connections to jaguar symbolism, with midwives sometimes described as possessing jaguar attributes enabling them to guide new souls safely into the world. Olmec werejaguar baby figurines may represent this connection between birth, transformation, and jaguar power, rather than solely focusing on male political leadership as earlier interpretations suggested. Certain female deities displayed jaguar characteristics, including aspects of the moon goddess who, like the jaguar, ruled the night realm and possessed transformative powers over the human body through her influence on fertility cycles and water. Archaeological evidence from elite female burials includes jaguar imagery alongside symbols of political and religious authority, suggesting women of high status could access werejaguar symbolism and perhaps transformation abilities. The complementary nature of male and female principles in Mesoamerican cosmology suggests that werejaguar transformation likely incorporated both masculine and feminine attributes rather than being exclusively assigned to either gender, with the balance between these energies creating the perfect spiritual practitioner, capable of moving between worlds and forms with the necessary knowledge to return safely. The ecological understanding embedded within werejaguar traditions demonstrates sophisticated observation of actual jaguar behavior, transformed through cultural interpretation into mythological frameworks that shaped human-environment relationships throughout Mesoamerica. Indigenous knowledge recognized the jaguar's critical role as an apex predator, maintaining ecosystem balance, noting how these cats regulated prey populations and influenced the behavior of other forest animals through their mere presence. Werejaguar mythology extended this natural function into cosmic dimensions, portraying these beings as maintainers of spiritual equilibrium who punish transgressions against sacred order. Traditional ecological knowledge incorporated detailed understanding of jaguar hunting techniques, territorial behaviors, and habitat preferences, information vital for both avoiding dangerous encounters and emulating the animal's successful adaptations to challenging environments. Observations of jaguars swimming, climbing, and moving comfortably in different ecosystems informed perceptions of these animals as masters of multiple domains, a characteristic transferred to werejaguars who likewise traversed boundaries between worlds. The jaguar's remarkable adaptability across diverse environments from rainforest to scrublands paralleled the werejaguar's ability to move between cosmic realms, suggesting fundamental connections between ecological and spiritual understanding in Mesoamerican thought. Contemporary conservation efforts sometimes draw on these traditional associations, emphasizing the jaguar's cultural significance alongside its ecological importance to build support for habitat protection initiatives among communities with ancestral connections to werejaguar traditions. This integration of spiritual significance with practical ecological knowledge demonstrates the sophisticated environmental understanding embedded within what outsiders might dismiss as mere superstition, revealing how mythology often encoded valuable information about human relationships with the natural world. The werejaguar stands as a testament to humanity's complex relationship with the natural world and our enduring fascination with transformation, embodying truths about existence that transcend cultural boundaries while remaining firmly rooted in the particular ecological and social contexts of Mesoamerican civilizations. Unlike European werewolves, typically portrayed as cursed or monstrous figures representing fears of the bestial nature lurking within humanity, the werejaguar represented spiritual power and cosmic understanding within Mesoamerican worldviews that recognize transformation as an inherent aspect of existence rather than an aberration to be feared. These shapeshifters embodied the permeable boundaries between categories: human and animal, earth and sky, life and death, material and spiritual, challenging rigid classifications and suggesting more fluid understandings of reality that modern science sometimes rediscovers through concepts like ecological interconnection and energy transformation. Their continued presence in cultural memory demonstrates the resilience of indigenous knowledge systems despite centuries of colonization and cultural disruption that sought to replace these sophisticated cosmological frameworks with European religious and philosophical traditions that often failed to recognize their complexity and validity. As modern societies reconsider our relationship with nature and indigenous wisdom in light of environmental crises and cultural reevaluation, the werejaguar serves as a powerful reminder of alternative ways of understanding our place within the cosmos, not as masters separate from nature, but as participants in complex systems of transformation and exchange that connect all living beings. This ancient symbol continues to prowl through collective imagination, bridging worlds just as it has done for over 3,000 years, offering insights into both our past and possible futures as we navigate our own transformations in an increasingly interconnected global environment.